All right, here we go. Ready? Okay, today we're going to learn notes 12.5 volumes of pyramids and cones. And before we actually start working on the theorems, what we're going to do is do a little experiment. And if I've learned how to do this correctly, there we go. All right. What I'm showing you now is a what? Okay, so rectangular prism, basically. And then this one is? Okay, square pyramid or a rectangular pyramid. And if you notice that the pyramid, what it does is it fits inside of its same base prism. So you can think of a pyramid as a prism that's been shaved into this shape. So it comes up to a point. So what we're going to do is we're going to investigate what it means to be the volume of a pyramid. So I'm going to start with my pyramid and I'm going to fill it with colored water. Yes, this is my vitamin water. Okay. And try not to spill anything. Almost. Okay. So that's pretty full. Let's just pretend that it's all the way tippy top full. Okay? I pour it into this shape. And take a look. 1, 2, 3. It's 1/3 of the volume. Okay, let's do the same thing for the, what is that? Cone. And what is this? Cylinder. Okay, so you can think of this as also being shaved down and it coming up to a point, so it's going to also be 1/3. So what I'm going to do here is fill this up. Yeah, that's about enough. And very carefully pour it into my cylinder. And if you take a look, it's going to be 1, 2, 3. So it's 1/3 of the cylinder. Alright, so putting that away, let's go ahead and get out our notes. And our notes the first theorem is the formula. It says the volume of a pyramid is 1/3 of the volume of actually it's a pyramid, so it would be a volume of the prism that it sat in, right? Well, let's think about that for a second before we fill this out. If I draw the prism over here, that same base, and I draw the prism, tell me how I'm supposed to find the volume of that prism. Good. So the volume of the prism was capital B for area of the base times the height. But here, this is going to be volume of the pyramid. It's going to be 1/3 capital B H. So that means 1/3 of the area of its base times its height. And you can go ahead and write the formula again over here. That's 1/3 capital B H, where B stands for the area of the base and H stands for the height. Okay, same thing over here. We're going to start with the volume of a cone is 1/3. Okay, but before we fill that part out, let's go over here to the side. Here's our cylinder that our cone sits inside. How do we find the volume of this? Volume of the cylinder? From last time's notes. Well, it's going to be area of the base times the height. It's going to be the same thing. So over here, it's going to be 1/3 of that. Volume of the cone is 1/3 capital BH. So 1/3 of the area of its base times its height. And you can go ahead and rewrite your formula here, 1/3 capital BH, where B is the area of the base and H is the height. Okay, in this section right here, we have some examples and some check for understanding. So we're going to do the first two, and you're going to do two by yourself. So circle number 3 and number 4, because those are the ones you're going to do by yourself. We're going to focus in on number 1 and number 2. All right, so always start these problems with your formula by writing down the formula. So up here at the top, I'm going to write volume is equal to 1/3 capital BH, because it's a cone, so I'm going to write that down. All right, well, what shape is the base? Good, it's a circle. So that's going to be volume. I'm going to take out that B, and I'm going to write it, I'm going to input the, or substitute in the area of a circle, which is pi r squared. And then height. Well, we need the radius and the height. So the radius over here, radius is 3. Height is 5. So if I plug in a 3 for the radius, that's 3 squared. 3 to the second power is 9, good. So that's going to be 1/3, and we always write the number in front, so that's 9 pi, and then the height would be 5. Well, what's 1/3 of 9? Good, 3. 3 times 5? 15 pi is considered to be my exact answer. 15 pi meters cubed, good, is my exact answer. Plug that into my calculator using the pi key, and these need to be squiggle lines because it's approximately, since we're rounding, and that would be what? To round to the nearest tenth. 47.1, good. 47.1 meters cubed. All right, the next one looks exactly the same except for they gave us the diameter, right? So let's take a look a little bit closer. I know that if I have the diameter is 12, I know my radius is 6, good. So what's my height? Ruh-roh, we don't have it. Okay, so I'm going to, see how they drew a dotted line to the center of the circle? So I'm going to pretend like that's the center of my circle, and I'm going to draw a dotted line down. There's my height. And see how they drew a dotted line over to the side of the circle? Do that as well. And if it helps you, you can go ahead and shade in so you can focus on what shape it is. What kind of shape is that? Good. It's a right triangle. And if you want, you can even bring it out here and draw it out here. That's going to be, I'm going to put H for height. This is going to be what? Good, 6. And this over here is 10. Okay. All right, this is, I'm just drawing it out here. It's the same triangle. Now, what do I use? Absolutely, you can use Pythagorean theorem, but is there a quicker way? It is an extension of a Pythagorean triple, 3, 4, 5. So here, this is 3 times 2. So this should be 3, this should be 4 times 2, and this should be 5 times 2. So what should the height be? Good. So the height, I'm going to write it up here, height equals 8. And now we have all the information we need. So let's go ahead and do the same thing we did over here. Volume is 1/3 capital BH. Because it's a circle, I'm going to substitute in the area of a circle. That's pi r squared times the height. The radius this time is 6. 6 squared is, okay, so that's going to be 1/3 36 pi times what? Good, 8, the height. All right, so now when you plug this into your calculator, you would put 36 times 8 divided by 3. What is 36 times 8 divided by 3? What'd you get?
12.
Well, 36 divided by 3 is 12. But then you have to multiply that by 8. Okay, so that's going to be 96 pi, and this is going to be feet cubed. Now this is my exact answer. So now let's find our decimal answer by using the pi key in our calculator. Plug in 96 pi, and what do you get? .301. Good. 301.6 feet cubed. All right, finish number 3 and 4 on your own, and you'll bring those to show me when you have your, when I check your notes. All right, next page. Now this page are all examples that we're going to work on, and then page 3, this is your check for understanding page. So you're going to do all of these by yourself. So here's page 2. So page 2, the first example, let's start with volume is equal to 1/3 area of the base times the height. And this one, what you don't see, it was supposed to print out, but it didn't, so it's a typo. Go ahead and put these marks here. That makes that what kind of pyramid? Good, a square pyramid. Okay? So, here I know that my base is a square, so that's going to equal 12 times 12, which is, and my height is what? Excellent. So I have everything I need. I'm going to say 1/3 times 144 times 15. Okay. So, let's see. You can do this in parts. To me, mental math is easier if you do 1/3 of 15. So 1/3 of 15, that would be 5. So you can write down 144 times 5. And then go ahead and plug it into your calculator. Or you can just multiply those two together and divide by 3. It's up to you. So what do you get in the end? Good, 720. 720 feet cubed. Next one. All right, this one didn't show up. The dimension right here dropped off. This is supposed to be 6 inches. So what shape is this base? It's a what? A rectangle. Okay, so for my base, I'm just going to multiply 10 times 6, so that is 60. And what's my height? Don't know yet. But if you worked ahead, then you know that you can use Pythagorean theorem or a Pythagorean triple here. So that's going to be Halfway across is 5. This is 13. That is the height. And this time I'm going to use Pythagorean. I'm going to pretend like I don't know that that's a Pythagorean triple, and I'm going to say h squared plus 5 squared equals 13 squared. So h squared plus 25 equals 169. Subtract 25 from both sides. I get h squared equals 144. Square root both sides. H does equal 12. All right, the next one, that's going to be volume equals 1/3, capital B, H. So that's going to be 1/3. The base is 60. The height is 12. Multiply those together, divide by 3, and you get what? 240 inches cubed. This one, 1/3 capital B, H. The base is a square again. So that's going to be 6 times 6, which is 36. The height is given to me, which is 4. So that's 1/3 times 36 times 4. Multiply and divide by 3. What do you get? I got 48.
Yeah, I got 48.
Okay, 48 centimeters cubed. On this one, we're going to have to flip it over to the back, because that happens to be what shape? Hexagon. So let's go ahead and flip this over to the back. Alright, so right now we're just looking at the base. I'm going to draw a hexagon. Okay, remember there's the center of the hexagon. If I draw it straight down, that is the apothem. Here's the radius. Okay, so I'm looking at this shape right here. Blow it up so I can see it. How do I get this angle? Okay, so 360 divided by 2m would be what? 12? So 360 divided by 12 is 30. Good. So that's a 30, 60, 90 triangle. Now you were told that this whole side is 6. So what's this part of it? Alright, so that's the short side. So the long side is going to be 3 rad 3. And if I needed to know the radius, that would be double, so that would be 6. Perimeter. How many sides do you have? And they're all 6, so that perimeter is 36. Good. When I find the area, it's 1/2 the apothem times the perimeter. So that's 1/2 3 rad 3 times 36. So that's going to be 1/2. I'm going to multiply those together. That's going to be 108 rad 3. Divided by 2, I get 54 rad 3. So this right here is the exact answer for my area of my base. So I'm going to call that capital B. Alright, so I flip it over here, and I have capital B is, that was 54 rad 3 centimeters squared. Do we have everything we need? No, unfortunately not. We have to drop a perpendicular down here and over to the side. Okay. So if you notice here, if I drop a perpendicular straight down and go straight over to the side, what's that called? What is this? The apothem. Okay, so this is the height of the pyramid. That's the slant height. And this is the apothem. So my slant height was 10. So this right here was 10. We already found the apothem. The apothem is what? Okay, so this is going to be 3 rad 3. And now the height. So you have to use Pythagorean theorem. So that's going to be h squared plus 3 rad 3 squared equals 10 squared. H squared plus, that's going to be 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27 equals 100. Now, I see some confused looks. So right here, remember that that's 3 rad 3 times 3 rad 3. Put the 3's together, that's 9. Put the rads together, and that's rad 9. That's how I got the 9 times 3, which is 27. Alright, subtract from both sides. What do you get?
73.
H squared equals 73. So H is rad 73, and you're going to leave it just like that. So let's flip it back over to the other side. My height is rad 73. Centimeters. Okay, so now volume is going to be 1/3 area of the base times the height. So that's 1/3 54 rad 3 times rad 73. Now in my calculator, I would just go ahead and see if I could divide 54 by 3. 54 divided by 3 is what? Is what? 18. And then now multiply 73 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9. That's times 7 is 21. So that's going to be rad 219. So this is my exact answer. But go ahead and plug it into your calculator. Plug in 18 rad 219. What do you get?
266.4.
266.4, and that would be centimeters cubed. Is that what you got? All right, last one, or last row, I mean. So we have a cone, and it's the same thing, 1/3 area of the base times the height. This one, I like it when I have these because they do all the work for me. All it is plugging stuff in. You already know capital B. You already know the H. So that's going to be 1/3. That's going to be 113.04. And the height is 10. All you have to do is plug that into your calculator. I suggest, when they're messy like this, that you go ahead and multiply these together, enter, and then divide by 3. That way you don't make a mistake. Alright, so when I did that, I ended up with 376.8 inches cubed. Almost done. Look at this one. Same thing. When you get this type, it's very easy. 1/3 area of the base times the height, so that's going to be 1/3 83.2 times 9. Multiply the 83.2 times 9 and then divide by 3. And you end up with 249, good, 0.6, what's feet cubed. Alright, and then your check for understanding is over here. That means that you're doing 1 through these 9 problems And if you have all of these 9 problems plus the other 2, then you'll get 100% on your notes. All right, folks, that's it for notes 12.5.